Hello there. They call me Mr. E. Now, I have noticed recently a lot of discussion in Australia about the extremely fear-charged topic of Australia v China in World War III. Now, whether people think this is a legitimate conversation or not, it seems to have pretty much everyone at least a little unsettled and asking themselves the question, what if? So, is it a possibility? What would this mean for Australia? Importantly, where should I sit in this conflict as an individual? Despite your opinions, it is undeniable that Australia is in a very interesting position, strategically placed in the Asia-Pacific region, drawing keen attention from the world's superpowers. So, the question on everyone's lips, what's more important? Australia's economic reliance on China or its allegiance to the US and the UK? Let's investigate this.
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years, and this is my story.
The problem Australia faces, something on everyone's mind, is this. Okay, if we go to war with China, won't that destroy the economy? Can the country afford to do that? Australia has a number of pillars to its economy. Resources like iron ore, coal, gas, oil, construction, services, education, primarily university, and health services, agriculture, meat, cereals. These are all multi-billion-dollar industries which dominate Australia's economic reality. All of these pillars are directly related to and dominated by Chinese money and trade. China is Australia's biggest trading partner. Hey, China is the biggest trading partner for Europe and the US. The question begs then, why would Australia's political elite poke the bear? It seems like they are actively trying to destroy diplomatic and economic relations with China. Bickering with Chinese officials and baiting them has damaged relations and is affecting businesses across Australia. So why would any political party, especially a conservative one, who is supposed to be better at managing the economy, risk this? It all comes down to Australia's history. Australia was established as a colony of an imperial power, the British Empire. 100 years ago, Australia was merely an outpost of the Commonwealth, one that supplied the British Empire with important resources, feeding its economic interests, i.e., the interests of its financial oligarchs, its banking and industrial cartels. Australia supplied them with wool and gold. Accordingly, like all important colonies, Australia received investment from England to maintain the supply of valuable resources to the motherland. After World War II, the US also enjoyed these strategic benefits through its own investments and diplomacy. It is the UK and the US, with their interest in the Asia Pacific and their capital investment, that developed Australia's own ruling classes, Australia's most wealthy and powerful people. Australia's economic ruling class is therefore tied directly and indebted to its UK and US relations. It's a cultural connection just as much as an economic one. Now let's just imagine here for a second that Australia followed its current money flow from the Chinese, the ones consuming Australian commodities and pouring all their money into the country. And because of this, it re-established its allegiances on that basis. Following imperialist China's lead from now on, shifting its cultural focus. This would fundamentally undermine the existing ruling class of Australia. The Chinese would become Australia's imperial leader, and it would then openly invest enough of its own resources in Australia to establish its own ruling class. The middle and the upper classes in Australia would be unquestionably consumed by Chinese interests. Australia's business leaders love Chinese spending money, but they will not accept for a second overt Chinese power because it would spell their end. Australia's economic rulers are not stupid, though we sometimes might think they are because their political actions seem counterintuitive. But they will happily cop a hit to the pocket in the short term if it means holding their positions and power in the long term. Trade with China can be diverted elsewhere. Europe, South America, elsewhere in Asia. But once you lose your position as the ruling class, you will never get it back. This is why you have the World War III fear-mongering. This is why many small and medium businesses will be sacrificed while politicians bait and offend the Chinese, something that many see as the complete opposite to what is good for Australia economically, keeping up trade with China, the largest economy in the world. It all comes down to this. The real ruling classes of Australia must ensure their position and therefore must have public opinion always in control and ready to pounce on the China threat if they need to. Hence the World War III scare. Australia is still living in the mindset of an English colony. England is still the largest landholder in Australia. This is the cultural tie that controls Australian power. The question is though, knowing this, should the country shake its colonial chains and reposition itself on the world stage? Because when they brag about war with China, all they care about is their economic rulers in the UK and the US. And the Australian people are just collateral. Now, if you thought that this was interesting, give it a like, leave a comment, and share this with someone who should hear it. And subscribe for more. There is much to learn before we can unlock the revolution. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.